What are red flags in a friendship most people brush away? When you hang out with them it feels like you're defusing a bomb when there's nothing going on right then. I had to let go of my best friend because of this. With my real friends I could always just respond to a text message with the first thing I thought of. With this girl I felt like I had to carefully consider what I was saying and then reword it several times before I could hit send because I didn't want to be dismissed or berated in any way. That's not friendship. Friends that only care to talk about their own success and aren't genuinely happy for you and yours unless it amounts to less than their own. Really jealous and possessive friends. I'm a jealous person by nature, and even though my jealousy flares up when I see my friends hanging out with other people, I would never let them know. Why? Because I don't want them to feel bad about doing the things they love, having a social life outside my little world. If a person tries to box you up because they want you all to themselves, it's not a proof of love or companionship. True love, in any kind of relationship like friends, family, lovers, is shown by respect and allowing the other person to have free will. Friends who are good to you in one-on-one but constantly put you down in group settings. This is a big sign of insecurity, jealousy. Other signs: inappropriate attention-seeking behaviors, trying to twist the situation on you when confronted about things, not respecting your boundaries, is super friendly with new people but in a disingenuous I wanna be liked the most way, constant gaslighting, getting mad at you for not going by the exact same moral playbook as them. When in group settings they get really uncomfortable and try to change the subject or put you down extra if attention is on you. Acting they like can take constructive feedback but actually taking it out on you in small ways throughout the rest of the day. Whoa, that's exactly what my high school best friend did to me. You see, you got a private message from them and your gut reaction is to start getting nervous or anxious. But what is it this time? This was happening with me for months before the friendship imploded. It was always something, and none of it good. Being dismissive of all your interests and achievements. Meanwhile everything they do, no matter how mundane, is amazing. And then you bring this issue up and they give BS reasons like it's hard for me to care about something I don't know about, or even further you're being sensitive, erratic, emotional, and you just sit there thinking I'm sure glad I still attentively listened to all those times you bored me with your financial spreadsheets you made to decide what car you would buy. Having their dang phone in their face the whole time. If they do that, they don't want a friend, they want company. It's not the same. Yet despite this can never seem to reply to your messages, lol. Friends who are always happy to talk about themselves but never once ask you how you're doing or anything engaging you to talk about yourself. Have a friend exactly like this. It's very annoying lately. Inability or unwillingness to apologize when he or she does something wrong. It's symptomatic of an ego issue that will eventually infect every aspect of your friendship. Feel this one. Had a friend like that who always managed to put the blame on me, and it made me so frustrated that at one point I snapped when a common friend of us experienced that same toxic behavior. She found out later and got super mad at me for trash talking her. LOL, maybe I am the bad guy. My best friend in high school once specifically requested for me to post a picture of us for National Best Friend Day, or some similar holiday. I asked if she'd be posting a picture of us too. No, I have a lot of best friends, but I'm your main best friend so you should post a picture of us, was her response. The next couple years were full of backstabbing and gaslighting, complete with occasional fallings out until we finally stopped speaking. Looking back, I can't believe I didn't see it coming. Good riddance to her. That's awful that she said that to you, and I hope you've better, more considerate people in your life to appreciate you. Reading these comments are helping to calm my anxieties about whether or not I'm a good friend, so thanks for that, y'all. Another sign of a bad friend is no self-reflection. Sounds like you don't fall into that category either. They don't ask about you, they just turn every conversation about themselves. When you talk about exams they don't ask you how you did, they just talk about themselves. When you talk about not sleeping well they talk about how they didn't sleep. When you tell them you broke up with your so they talk about their so, etc. Some people think that that is how you show empathy, by showing you have similar problems. It becomes a real problem when they combine it with being a topper. I slept awful last night, woke up at 3 and just gave up. Ugh. Me too. I never did fall asleep and I just laid on the couch all night. When they push other people out of the friend group. It happened in my group where there were 5 of us. She joined and basically bullied 3 out of the group. But it wasn't obvious bullying. A lot of things change. Next thing I know I'm being treated like crap to the point I hate myself. Me and my friend managed to leave and make friends with the original 5 again. The one that kicked everyone out is very social and no one RLY likes her BC. She's not nice but she's now found herself with no friends. You'll gladly do a favor for them or help them out, but when you need something, they won't do it and act like you're ridiculous for asking. Also when friends don't respect boundaries. Good vibes only friends. That mentality is fine to have with yourself, but you can't force that on others. My best friend adopted this attitude and from then on, whenever I would come to her for support or advice on an issue I was having, she'd cut me off and say, good vibes only. Remember, because I was bringing her down. I put up with it for a long time because I thought she was right, that I was burdening her. But then I finally realized that that's not how real friends act. They're supposed to support and help each other. Referred to online as toxic positivity. Friends who constantly call you for advice but never take it and continue to involve you in their drama. If you're not going to make moves to improve your situation, stop asking me for help. Assholes. When they pressure you to do things for them or a certain way and act like you were on board the whole time. Coercion. They say they are holding you accountable to something you never wanted in the first place. Gaslighting. They take the high road when you get angry because they won't respect your boundaries. Play the victim. You just described my parents. Friends that are a one-way street. I was always the one to message, call, or make plans with them. I was always the one to check up on them to see if they were okay. I always offered a helping hand and be there for them. I decided to stop to see if they would reach out to me, but we never spoke to me again. Oh, well. I've got a friend who loves to talk about himself. Everything is always about him. So, when I'm out with my friends and he's in our group, we created a game where you have to drink every time he starts a conversation about himself. It's made it a lot more tolerable. They never say anything supportive of you, but they will point out your flaws and can't wait to burn you because it's funny to them. And then the follow-up of "you're too sensitive, it's just joking." I had a friend like that. When I started distancing myself from her and that group of friends, I became the bee that never wanted to hang out even though I had no life. Good freaking riddance. When you realize that you are more yourself when they are not around. Conditional friendship. We're friends until I question you in the slightest way, and if I do, the relationship is tanked. Source. Happened to me yesterday. Goodbye as fuck. When they refuse to validate you, compliment you. When you tell them your accomplishment or something you're proud of, they reply with what they did to devalue your thing. Friends who say they'll help you out, but bail when you reach out. Friends who forget to invite you or text you back about events, parties. Friends who undermine what you say in group settings. That is, you tell a story or make a comment and they correct you in some way. I have friends like this, but it prevents them from being good friends. Having to censor yourself. I have friends with different religious political beliefs that I think are absolutely insane. I don't endorse what they say, but I just keep my mouth shut because I know they wouldn't be okay with it, and the purpose of these friendships usually revolve around sports, music. With politics I'll openly criticize, but I have some religious friends where at some point I've had to be like, we don't agree on this, but neither of us are going to change our opinions, so let's avoid it. This is subtle and a bit counterintuitive, but beware of the rescuer martyr. The person that's always rushing out to help and give everyone else their all, whether or not it's needed or whether the recipient is comfortable with it. They are good people, very well intentioned and saintly in their generosity with their time and energy. However, sometimes it goes to the extreme and then it's more a symptom of a toxic cycle where they only get meaning and self-worth when they are saving someone. Or maybe they keep swooping into other people's lives to fix things in hopes that someone will do the same for them. They may have good intentions, but they tend not to have good boundaries. They get over involved in your life, take on way too much and make everyone's problems their own. They end up overwhelmed, mired in drama, and resentful, and then they become the martyr. The problem with being friends with this type of person is that you're not in an equal friendship where you like each other, enjoy spending time with each other, and when there happen to be downs, you support each other through them. It's more like you're a project. Everyone's a project, and once you stop being a project, you're now support. Not just for them and their own problems, but part of the fire brigade for their other projects, which they've internalized as their own problems and drama. You leave their presence feeling worse about yourself, mostly because they will have an excuse for what they say. When you ask them for anything, they are busy, but they will demand things from you. Most people also brush away that they will demand a lot of attention. They choose where and when to meet for plans without your input, then act entitled if you are busy or simply can't meet their demands. If you tell your friend that you like a person and you two are hanging out, then out of nowhere they start to talk to the person 24/7 and then tell you that they like the person and gets jealous if anyone else starts to talk to that person. Pretty toxic to me, but yeah. This happened to me in secondary school. They started going out and our friendship fell apart. 15 years later they're married, so it was probably for the best in the long run. If you have had a friend for a long time, but you only seem to be able to talk about memories in the past, each time you get together or exchange messages, it's remember in high school, or remember that time when, could be a sign that you both have grown apart and do not have much in common today that you can connect on. I have a friend who does this, except they have become wild exaggerations to the point they are no longer true. Personally, I've always had bad experiences with people who say everyone is their best friend. When my best friend in high school started calling 10 different people including me her best friend, that was when I knew I was just an accessory, and she was trying to surround herself with people to love her. I'm sure some instances it holds true, but for me, if I decide to keep someone in my life, they are generally in for the long haul. So now in my late 20s I have 7 people I'd consider my best friends. I don't think it's necessarily a red flag if they have a lot of best friends, but if their best friends cycle out constantly, that's a different story. A friend of mine has been making fun of me for years. Just made fun of me whenever I said anything, even if I was serious. Didn't realize how much it's affected my self-esteem until I actually got really angry at her for something else and no longer considered her a friend. Also, she's mentally unstable. Now that's okay, and as her friends we want to help her with that, but she's not giving us a chance to do so. She just flips her crap and expects everyone to adapt to her. The real problem is that she hasn't changed. The same crap's been happening for years and she's apparently not trying to work on herself in that regard, still expecting us to just accept whatever BS she throws at us. So frick her. Friends who guilt trip you for never hanging out with them but always flake at the last minute when you do plan to meet. Repeatedly have to put effort into maintaining the friendship. Understandable if someone is busy, but it gets to a point when it just becomes a one-sided relationship. They're constantly on their phone messaging people or talk about people they speak to, but can never seem to reply to your messages. If the only jokes they're able to make are ones that make fun of other people, it's always a ticking time bomb with people like this, and one day they'll suddenly turn against you without warning. Giving you random gifts to make up for sustained crappy behavior and making friendship transactional. Like, I don't want your junk, I want you to quit being an butt. If they post about having a bad day but never answer anyone asking why. Friend FK this day. I'm so sick of this. 5 different people in comments, what happened? Friend message me, nothing, or no response. You decide to message, you get, just had a bad day, and then nothing, or get nothing at all. Or they tell you they'll tell you later. They won't tell you later. Chances are absolutely nothing actually happened. As a rule, I won't engage this nonsense. It's passive aggressive AF. Someone who is all nice, great, attentive, supportive, etc. when you are alone but acts differently when other people are around. Don't make excuses for your friend. This is 100% uncool. At the very least, it shows some bad insecurities on their part. At worst, it's a sign they are genuinely using you. I mean, this can depend. If I am talking to someone alone about a personal problem, then they'll obviously act very understanding and nice. However, When we're in a group we're likely not talking about any personal issues, so I tend to act differently. I do get what you're saying though. The ones who create and constantly dominate group chats. My circle of friends was actually severed in half because of this. Friend brings in another friend and she starts dominating everything. My mate stole from me for years. I refused to believe it until he stole the money we received at our wedding. He then tried to bluff his way out of it. I ignored it and in the end I paid the ultimate price and lost basically a brother. He stole from others including his real brother. I'm losing it just typing this. Having to comply with someone's opinion that you don't believe in. If you find yourself not getting along in an everyday way, that's a flag. If anything you'll do together is always steered towards what they want to do, it's easy to miss initially when you're getting to know their likes and interests. But once you know them it becomes clear they are just using you as some kind of emotional physical accessory. I had a friend like this for a while. We always did what he wanted and he just wasn't always that interested in what I liked or enjoyed. Just sort of would rope me into whatever he wanted to do. I progressively got to the point where I felt like I was being used. After a while he pressured me into sleeping over at his place. I obliged as we'd been drinking and I didn't feel great about driving home. He took my keys and said something to the effect of "You'll get these back in the morning." He wanted me to sleep in his room with him and share a bed, which I've done before with many other guy friends so it wasn't abnormal. However, it was the way he sort of said "No, you're sleeping in my room" when I was laying on the couch that made me uncomfortable. When we were in bed he asked if I wanted to cuddle. I politely declined. But it also clicked for me then that I was only there to fill a need for him. If it had been one of my other close guy friends who reciprocated my interests and needs I may have been comfortable with that. But I realized he wasn't interested in me for me, only in what I could provide him, i.e. emotional or physical attention. To be honest I don't think it would have progressed beyond cuddling. I was in a relationship though so I didn't want to ride that line. But it was the way he pressured me into the whole ordeal that made me feel used and uncomfortable. I peaced out the early next morning and kept my distance from him after that. Took me a while to work up the courage to tell my girlfriend about it because I felt stupid for being in that position and just generally feeling used. Moral of the story: respect yourself enough to watch out for your own interests and needs. Just because you want to be a friend to someone doesn't mean you have to be, and doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. They try to correct your personal preferences for you, bully you out of liking certain clothing, music, foods, art, etc. They'll often frame it as if they are doing you a favor. It's a sign of emotional immaturity when people treat others like play objects rather than human beings. When they try to heavily influence what you like. Had a friend who almost had a mental breakdown cause I wasn't playing Minecraft with default controls. It's legit annoying as frick and there's a difference between being funny about it and then just being straight up mental about it. No to sound morbid but one day, I'm gonna die and I don't wanna spend my life giving a crap about stuff that nobody cares about. Making a personality out of this trait is incredibly childish. They won't make the efforts to understand. You could be reaching over halfway across the table and they won't even try to reach for you. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.